President Trump opening the door just slightly for talks with North Korea after the rogue nation said it may be willing to negotiate with the U.S. But at the governor's meeting at the White House yesterday, the president added only under the right conditions.
North Korea, who, by the way, wants to talk, as of last night, you heard that. They want to talk. And we want to talk also only under the right conditions. Otherwise, we're not talking. You know, they've been talking for 25 years. Other presidents should have solved this problem long before I got here. And they've been talking for 25 years. And you know what happened? Nothing.
Major General C. Donald Alston is here to tell us how he thinks this will play out. Okay, so we know talk has never worked. The president just highlighted the fact that for 25 years talk hasn't worked. Then why would he then hint at possible talks now with North Korea?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that there's got to be a series of steps that have to take place in order for us to get their attention and then to see whether or not in good faith they're going to try to sit down and begin a meaningful dialogue. I mean, the couple of decades that they have raised the tension in the region only to make their demands on fuel or energy or what have you, and then only to modify their behavior for just a short amount of time. They've crossed a special threshold when they detonated their first nuclear weapon back in 2006. Well, and so they have escalated now for the last 11 years with both the missile program and the weapons program.
Yeah, so there's that meaningful dialogue and the question whether there is such a thing when it comes to this rogue regime, as you just mentioned in 2016. You know, they went ahead and launched that missile, and they brag about the fact that they do have these missiles that are strong enough to actually reach the United States and pack nuclear warheads. So how do you have meaningful dialogue with a country that has actually, in fact, said, Guam, you better look out?
It's a fair question, and the ball's going to be the ball's in their court. They can't expect that the behaviors that they have done in the past, where they've conditioned the region that there's no enduring compliance with international norms, right, and that record's long proven. So really, they're going to have to come to the table with something meaningful to buy the time and space they're going to need in order for us to have a constructive progression towards denuclearization. I don't expect that that's going to happen as the first measure for this engagement, but there has to be some bona fide indications that they are going to take this engagement opportunity seriously.
So if you're going to engage in denuclearization, and you're talking about North Korea, who really could care less what the rest of the world says or does, because we've really not done much more than sanctions and so forth and tried to put pressure on the Chinese, and then it was later found that they were somehow supplying them with money after they supposedly shut down their banks. I mean, so there's been no plan B. There's a plan A. Plan A is not working. So President Trump said that the U.S. will go to a phase 2, as he calls it, with North Korea if sanctions fail. I want to play that sound and then have your reaction.
If the sanctions don't work, we'll have to go phase 2. And phase 2 may be a very rough thing, may be very, very unfortunate for the world. But hopefully the sanctions will work. We have tremendous support all around the world for what we're doing. It really is a rogue nation. If we can make a deal, it'll be a great thing.
It would be a very bad thing for the world. What does he mean?
Well, I think that, once again, the onus is on North Korea. When the president says, you know, sooner or later there's going to be limits to how we are able to respond, because we can't go through with the concessions that we've made in the past. The game has changed because of this nuclear weapons program and the advancement of his missile program. And I thought it was interesting that he made these comments sitting next to the Prime Minister of Australia, because I think another point that's being made there is this is a regional challenge as well. And we have longstanding regional partnerships because of the values that we share and have in common. North Korea is surrounded by 3 of the largest economies in the world, 3 large population centers. There is a regional impetus to take this challenge on and to get outcomes that have been different than what we've been getting over the last 2 decades. So I don't know exactly what the administration has in mind on what that bloody nose operation might be. But if that action is taken, it's going to be it'll be interesting to see just how North Korea responds, because the survival of the regime, I think, is their number one priority.
Yeah.
And how far do they want to go when they react to this?
Yeah, it's just scary to think that the ball is in North Korea's court. The ball should never be in their court. So now it's a matter of playing ball with a rogue regime we cannot trust. Major General C. Donald Alston, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you. My pleasure.